Welcome back, Bantwana Benkosi. Ntate Morero is here, the executive mayor of the city of Johannesburg. Kosimfuna besifuna uqala ngaye baniyakhumbula Bantwana Benkosi. But great privilege indeed to have the mayor of the city of Johannesburg, quite frankly, managing a very complex coalition. Seems to be getting there since 2023. But I was joking with him offline that the mayors from his party have been met with unfortunate and untimely passings, and he seems to be surviving. Ndate Morero, welcome to Power Talk.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And good morning to yourself and your team, and of course to your viewers.
Yes.
Thanks, Ndlozi, I'm here.
We appreciate that very well. I mean, I do want to start with the stability of the coalition here in the city of Johannesburg. How's that going?
Well, the coalition so far has been going very well. We do have a structure that we call a political management committee. And which has been helping us to coordinate and keep the coalition together and over and above the PMC. We've also encouraged bilaterals between the ANC and all other parties that constitute the coalition. So it has been it has matured with time, very focused. We don't have a lot of contradictions. Yes, there are instances where we may not agree on an issue, but we then go back, discuss it until we find each other. So that's what the coalition has been doing, and I guess we are quite matured now. Yeah,
this is important, and because many people's predictions is that the city of Johannesburg is not about to have a one dominant political party anytime soon. But what have been the key benefits of the stability you refer to? Is there a comprehensive plan that the city now has, which has mobilized all these political actors into a single action? And if you could just take us through the key aspects of that plan.
Yeah, well, we have always agreed on particular priorities as the what we call a government of local unity. And as part of that, we then agreed on three critical areas that we need to focus on. One is service delivery, which we said let us put all our efforts into ensuring that the services are provided and we provide good quality services to the residents. Two, we said bylaw enforcement and crime prevention, having acknowledged that there's general lawlessness in Johannesburg, which requires us, therefore, to enforce the law. And we thought by enforcing the law and investing energies there, it will then help us to even address some of the challenges that we have, whether it's hijacked buildings, illegal and undocumented foreigners, violation of all our bylaws, whether by street traders, taxis, motorists. So we need to then enforce the law, which will then help us to reduce some of the problems we're experiencing. And the third part, we then said it's on financial sustainability, to improve the financial position of the city, ensure that we're able to collect revenue, we're also able to control and manage the spending. Because what we have also realized over time, the spending of the city has not been at the same level as your collection. So we then said, let's focus on spending and ensure that we can manage and control spending. So those are the three critical areas that we said. Of course, we've got about 12 priorities as the GLU that we had adopted, substance abuse, all sorts of priorities. But we said these three in particular, between now and the next elections, let's focus on them. Because that's where you find a lot of complaints by communities. So let's focus, address that, and we believe by addressing that we'll be able to turn things around. We went into a Lekgotla, we developed a plan, a mayoral Lekgotla, and subsequent we had two mayoral committees that also looked into the turnaround strategy of City Power and Johannesburg Water, and those were then consolidated into a turnaround plan that I would have then presented as part of the presidential support package, which I then presented to say this is consolidation of the things that we have raised, and this is what we think it's a best turnaround plan that will help us to turn around the city. And we then presented that to the presidential working group and of course the mayoral committee. So that's where we are focused to turn things around. The plan is there. Now what we require is for people to start working.
Let's do 2023 you come in, it's been over a year.
Yes.
What in 2019, 2023 was not working in service delivery that you have sitting here can proudly say is now working?
Okay. The systems
in service delivery, like I'll give examples. You can choose your pick. Huge complaints about waste collection, huge complaints about street lights. Many people call and say the city is no longer the city of lights. Not just the street lights, but questions as well of street traffic lights. And then the obvious one being water, huge problems of water. And then finally, huge problems of roads. Those are surface issues. We can get into the rest, but I'm thinking, what was in 2023? What can you say? In 2023, this was broken. Okay. I can sit here and say it is proudly fixed.
Okay. Let me start by dealing with the street lights. And especially on this road, I think it will be a practical example for you. If you move on this road...
Here in Houghton?
No, on this one. The
M1?
M1. From Johannesburg Central or the double-decker, you'd see that when you drive after 6, the traffic lights are functional. Right up to Colette Drive. Just after Colette Drive, you'll see then it gets dark. Right up to Woodmead, then Now we then had to go into a contract with the province to say, okay, let's enter into a contract. We will fix. We'll then invoice you because we have to keep the lights on this road.
It's not your road.
It's not our road. So as I come in, those are the contracts that I've put in place. So I think the MEC had probably be signed by this week, and we'll then start fixing this and we'll invoice them. No,
Mayor, you're cheating.
No, I'm not cheating.
I don't want something that is still going to be fixed.
No, I wanted to make an example.
Okay.
The contract was signed probably on Wednesday, and you'll see by next week these lights will be on.
No.
I hear you.
We will come to the future.
No, I'm coming
in
there.
2023.
I hear you.
Yes.
I hear you.
A thing you can say in 12 months or in 18 months since we came in, this was not working. Now it is working.
No, I hear you.
Yeah.
Now you'd realize that it might not be street lights. It might not be. There might be other programs. For example, we came in. There was a collapse of the library, the Johannesburg Library. And in 12 months, the library is working. It's functional. It's opened. The last phase will then be open at the end of August. So in that 12 months, we're able to do that type of work. We've had big challenges on traffic lights, on street lights, and now we're beginning to address those. There are not much successes within that 12 months period. It's only now that you'll see the successes because we're putting in place systems that needed to be put in place. Two, in the 12 months, we're able also to go into the inner city of Johannesburg. And I want to explain this exercise to you, Dr. Ndlozi. The exercise we started in February, and we said all departments, you leave everything, you are all going to the inner city of Johannesburg. We targeted Ward 59, Ward 123, Ward 60, and partially Ward 124. And I thought that when we raised this matter was to understand why are there gaps in service delivery? Why are we experiencing non-response? And you'll be surprised, within the month we were there was real work happening. There was real commitment, there was dedication. We were able to unearth a whole lot of things that are happening inside the inner city. GRA was there, fixing potholes where they could, resurface where they could, deal with pavements. The question I then asked, where is the problem all along? Where has the problem been? And I came to a conclusion that it's a management problem. Because we had been able to demonstrate in a month that all these things that customers are complaining about can be done, and can they be fixed within certain time frames and within particular budgets. Now, that is why I wanted to raise this issue in trying to respond to also a question. And we came to a conclusion that there's a problem there. And now we need to force management to come on board and respond. And they did exactly what we expected. We dragged it for a month. And we then said, let's move region by region. I think we're in Region B and Region C currently, with an intention to turn around, bring services, deal with potholes. We call it a high impact service delivery program, which has begun to show us the results. And that's where we are. And I would request that perhaps you give us more time, another 6 months or so, to see if whether we are able to turn these things around. And we believe we are. We also have made sure that in this budget we allocate for those key areas, which is infrastructure refurbishment, service delivery, crime prevention and bylaw enforcement. So we have done so. It might not be sufficient. You'll never say the budget is sufficient, but we think it's enough to help us turn around the basics. Including traffic lights. But we have also had challenges with traffic lights, which I think residents should also know. We at times would replace them today, 3 days they're damaged again, either because somebody goes in there, they steal the copper in there, which they then sell to the scrap yards and all that stuff, which creates a problem. Because we fix 3 days, we must come back again, and it's not sustainable. So we then said, look at other options, and they did go and look at other options. There's a thinner copper, which is worthless in the market. So as they break, we replace them with that thinner copper, which is helping us a lot, because then criminals know that the thinner one is not valued in the scrapyard
Let's go
market.
to bylaws. I see we don't have enough time, but let's go to bylaws. That's the service delivery priority, as you mentioned.
Yes.
What were the problematic bylaws that you can say now in 2023, 1 and 2 and 3 were not happening? The following bylaws were not being complied with. And we have now enforced them, they are being complied with, and here is the result or the effect or the sort of advantage that we are now getting out of an enforcement of that bylaw. It seems to me here that there is a relationship immediately between that enforceability of bylaws, for instance, when it comes to waste collection and all of that, and service delivery. I know they intertwine, but I'm imagining that you are able to say 2023, you all know 1 and 2 were not happening, and this is because these bylaws were not being implemented. As I sit here this morning, this government, this coalition has sustained or has resolved those problems from a bylaw perspective.
Well, it's a tricky question.
Really?
I'll respond.
Are you going to blame me?
I'm not going to blame
The mayor wants to blame me because in my other life, when this coalition was constituted, I was partly involved. But
No, that's okay.
I think you'll be able to answer it. It's not a tough question.
Let me start with the one that we are focusing on into the townships, and we are beginning to see results. Is illegal dumping spots. So we then took a view that we are going to enforce. We're going to change them, but not just enforcement. We're also going to turn around into parks. I think I'm doing 10 by end of June in Soweto, claiming illegal dumping. So it's showing results.
How many illegal dumping sites did the city have?
We took a program of
2023?
100 spots, there are more than 100 all over the show, but we said let's do this 100 first and see how far we could go, possibly at about 10 a month. In June we're doing 10, turning them into...
So you haven't turned yet?
No, I've done 2 already in Soweto. So I think by end of the month there'll be a total of 10. That would have turned into mini parks. Because what we realize is that dumping sites is not more about law enforcement, because you'll enforce today, tomorrow they'll still dump. So rather change the way you deal with open spaces.
Okay.
And that's what we have done too. We have tried to deal with the issues of hijacking buildings. It's the most difficult
I'm going to come to that.
Oh, you want to come to that?
Yeah.
Special.
I want to start with finance. Then I'll go to hijacked buildings just before the headlines. The Auditor General, I'm sure you are aware of this, noted the city paying nearly 1 billion in transport contracts to officials linked to family members. And indicated that in as much as there's no legislation that prohibits municipalities making awards to suppliers in which close family members are involved, it does raise an ethical problem of conflict of interest. Is it true that the city's attitude towards what could potentially result into conflict of interest in BRT, Rea Vaya bus systems and all of that, being awarded to family members, is it true that the attitude of the city is that it doesn't have a problem with that?
Okay. Let me try and respond on this one, because remember what happens when you go out on tender. You advertise, people respond. The law says government officials are not supposed to be doing business with the state. And you go through a whole process of adjudication until you get to a point that this company has submitted the right things and all that stuff. And unfortunately, at times you find that some of these companies are owned by relatives of those who are employed in the state, but they're relatives. And it becomes difficult for you.
And that is to a tune of 1 billion.
No.
In the city of Joe, 1 billion contracts in family linked, 972 to be specific.
I think specifically,
million.
I think they were speaking to the Rea Vaya matter.
But 972 million, it's about close to 1 billion rands. That's a lot of money to just relatives.
Well, unfortunately, there's no legislation that would say if you are related to somebody, you can't do it. And I don't think even the adjudication has to go to extent unless there's a flagging on the basis that this person is actually a state employee.
So you are confirming that that's the attitude of the city?
There's no legislation. So the city can't...
But do you don't see the ethical problem?
Look... the question we need to ask differently, Ndlozi, is that if me and you are relatives and we're in the business space and I'm working for the state and I'm not part of an adjudication committee, should you therefore not be able to continue with your life and trade? It's a different story if I'm working for the state and I also have an entity and the entity responds to a tender. That's a clear conflict of interest.
Often the idea is that it's precisely ethical because it's possibly my entity.
Well, that has to be looked into differently. But if it's your entity responding,
I mean, it's a cover.
And it's a cover.
That's why it gets.
Then I think it will be difficult for the state to prove, and that is why you'll have to flag it if there's a whistleblower or there's a complaint, and you investigate. And on the basis of the investigation, then you will confirm. But there's no legislation that says you can't be tendering because you're not a state employee. And the risk of trying to push narratives that will disqualify South Africans from participating in government tenders on the basis that they're related. Because he didn't choose to work for the state, he chose to be a hustler, he chose to go into business and try his successes. Now on the basis of that, the person must then be, and you even find that in the family, but now we're prohibiting this person. I don't think it's the right attitude, but it only becomes unethical if an employee of the state tenders.
Okay. Let's take the headlines. It's 10:30 here on Power Talk, and we are with the Executive Mayor of Johannesburg. We continue the conversation right after the headlines with Thabo Molokwane. Stay tuned.
Stay informed. Power Talk with Mbuyiseni and Ndlozi, 9 a.m. to midday on Power 98.7.
0861987000. I'm with the Executive Mayor of the City of Johannesburg, Ntate Dada Morero. So if you want to interact with him, you can call through 0861987000. That's the studio line here on Power Talk. And Ntate Morero, my next question relates to hijacked buildings.
Yes.
Have you, in your time thus far, not the future,
Yes.
have you expropriated any hijacked buildings? If so, how many?
Well, expropriation might not be the right term. I've reclaimed 2 buildings.
Do we know how many buildings are hijacked in the city?
Well, there's just around about 38 which are government owned,
That are
30 to 45 which are government owned.
and what's
there's
the problem with?
There's just over 400 buildings in the city.
No problem. You say you have taken back how many?
2.
In all this time you've been the mayor.
Yes,
What's the problem?
you're right. The challenge that we have is your constitutional court order that said once you remove people, you must find them alternative space.
What if you can prove that the people living there, which is in most of the cases the case, are under some syndicate? They are paying rents and all of that to a syndicate.
The court says once you evacuate them from a building, you must find them an alternative.
Even if they are part of a syndicate.
Then the law must have arrested them, they're in a court of law. But the fact that they've been hijacked themselves, you can't say, therefore, you can't help them. The law says once you remove, find them alternative. So the difficulty that we have had is finding alternative accommodation, which is taking longer. We could have done the book and do the project quite quicker. The problem is alternative accommodation, and it has to be done in a humane manner. You have to ensure that the children there have access to schooling, the parents or the people living there have access to public transport and all that stuff. So the court is clear on what needs to happen. So the difficulty we have then had is finding the space to offload the people. Now you've got different categories of people in those hijacked buildings. You've got illegal and undocumented, which then becomes a home affairs problem. It's not a city problem. So we don't have an issue there. And you have people who are employed, who are able to pay rental. However, they've been hijacked, therefore you can take them to rental stock, which we've done so. Then you have those that have nothing, which actually are waiting for government someday to give them a house through the RDP housing program. So you have that type of category of people, which we then have to find alternative accommodation. So we've been successful with these two. We have about 12 orders that are successful. So we are still acquiring
But with this
court
pace,
orders.
it will take you 19 years.
No. The pace is going to take us long. But once we have resolved that loop, which is what the teams are working on, to resolve how we can massively find alternative accommodation, then we'll be able to move with speed. So we've requested them to do as much research as possible and give us a report on how best we can deal with the matter of alternative accommodation. That's basically what is making us to move slowly. We could have moved much faster.
Let's take the roads. 70% of the bridges, according to the Johannesburg Road Agency, are classified as poor or very poor, with 20 on the verge of collapse. Since 2023, in your mayoral reign,
2024.
2024.
Yeah.
Or you came in 2024.
Yeah, August.
I've been saying 2023.
August.
2024 August is last year.
Yes, I came in August.
Yeah. All right. What is the plan with regards to
Okay.
the roads? 20 bridges on the verge of closure.
Yes. Bridges are a serious concern, and that is why you'd see that we have substantially put some money for JRA to also address bridges. Reality is that they are old and some of them have already collapsed. In fact, one in Naledi has collapsed. We have put money for that, which joins Protea Glen and Naledi extension. So we've put money immediately to fix those. So some of them are not in good health completely. And this requires us to focus on them. We've also raised it with the provincial government, but within our own resources, we're doing something. So it's a basic issue of prioritizing that how many we can do in this financial year, which ones are worse. So let's fund those that are worse. But we have also said to our finance team to look at other models of how we can best finance the refurbishment of these bridges. In total, it's just around 900, in fact, which are not in good health and requires urgent attention. So we'll have to prioritize.
You haven't done so.
No, we have done so. I think the team at JRA has the priority list. That is why I mentioned the Naledi one, because it had already collapsed. So it's on the priority list, and that is why there's money in this financial year to also sort it out.
Okay.
Reality, yes, it is true. They are all bad and requires urgent attention, and that's what we are doing. But it also needs other models of how we can fund it. We may not be able to fund all 900 with our own cash reserves as the city. It requires that we go into other forms of partnerships.
What is the city's role on the Golden Highway project and the problem of a construction mafia there? What's your contribution to the resolution that project must not be disrupted? It must unfold with speed. Majority of it is in Johannesburg, from Orange Farm.
It's actually in Johannesburg.
Yes.
It's about seven wards affected, and our councillors have been fully involved. We have appointed.
Are the 7 councillors all the wards of the ANC?
Yeah. I think there's only one which is not ANC, which is around Kibla Park, if I'm not wrong. No, it's actually all ANC councillors. Okay. And in Ward 7, it's a PA councillor.
The reports are that some of these disruptions, the councillors are involved in the sourcing of bribes or payments, working together with the people that, are termed construction mafia.
Well, so far I haven't received reports that suggest that our councillors are involved. In fact, one of the main councillor involved is also the chief whip of council, who have been trying to ensure that project never gets disturbed, never destabilized, as a senior councillor, and he has been meeting quite constantly with the 7 councillors. The last time I was there, we did a walkabout to check progress on the project, and there was no indication of major problems that the councillors are not able to address themselves.
What about Sanko?
Well, if there are issues with Sanko, it's a political matter, which we then take it to the ANC as an ally.
You don't know that there's Sanko problem. Because that's what we are reading about. Sanko, councillors, and then the so-called business forums, obviously.
No. I haven't received it. The last time we were there, it's a month ago, where I did a walkabout. I'll check if there are issues now. I'll just call the chief whip because he's actively involved.
But Mayor, the MEC has been going around speaking to the affidavit that was submitted.
No, it's not. No. Remember, it's a provincial project
Yes.
in a nutshell, and probably that is why I'm not giving attention to it. At the political level, it's led by the province. The financing is led by the province. JRA is basically being contracted to also participate. It's not our project. Our councillors are there because it affects their wards. But from the report that I had from the chief whip at that point, there were no issues because they're also involved. But remember, such projects, they will bring such issues where there's mafias, there's people trying to extort, there's people trying to get more work than the others. So projects generally do bring challenges within the wards.
If you've just joined us, this is Power Talk with me, Mbuyiseni Ndlozi. I've got in studio the Executive Mayor of Johannesburg. We're getting into your calls now, but Ntate Morero, just as a point of departure, there's Mama Tato from Naturena who called earlier and had this to say. Mama Tato, welcome to Power Talk.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for taking my call.
Thank you for calling, Mama.
And welcome to Power.
Thank you.
Dr. I just wanted to send you to speak to the mayor on my behalf and other senior citizens' behalf. You know, our accounts have been in arrears for the longest time. From the time we moved from their normal electricity to prepaid. Ne? And it seems as if they are not fixing this problem. Then
when was this, Mama? If you had to give me a timeline.
We were moved to normal electricity roundabout in the late 90s. But we've been paying, because we were told not to stop paying, but we pay. Now, in 2019, this rebate for senior citizens started. I started applying, so did other people in my area. Do you know we never get responses from those applications for rebate for senior citizens, and no rebate has been done? But I realized last month I got a pre-termination of 701 rand. Nobody explains anything. You just get a statement that says pre-termination, the total is 701 rand. It's pre-termination notices, 44 rands, pre-termination 260. And those money adds up. And then my total amount was 2,097. So you pay what you can afford, Doctor.
Yeah.
When you go to their offices, you must see how we are treated. In the apartheid era, we were invisible, black people. But now what I've noticed that elderly people are invisible. Please, my boy.
Thanks,
Thank you so much.
Please, my boy. Yes, she has asked.
Thanks, Mama. Yeah.
What's your response?
Look, it's a serious concern that Mama is raising. But remember, we want our customers to register on our ESP.
What is ESP?
Our extended social package, for us to be able to extend these packages and other benefits in the city, especially for pensioners. There are a lot of rebates and benefits that they have. But the concern that she's raising is that there are prepaid meters or issues around pre-termination, meaning that there's been some challenge in terms of payment of the bills. And you could hear that she's also saying that she can only pay what she can afford, meaning that the consumption may be higher than what she can afford. And we have to try and see how we reduce the consumption, because the problem then becomes consumption. For example, I suppose she's over 60, therefore we've given her a rebate in terms of property rates. I think at a certain age you're completely exempted. A certain amount of your rates from 300,000 is also exempted. So I suspect on the rates she could be exempted. I just have to check.
Are we able to agree that we will give you her contact
Yes, we can engage with her.
And you will call her as the mayor.
I will gladly do so. And in fact, we had
help her.
We had a meeting, public meetings, just a year ago, a year and a half ago.
You were not the mayor then?
Yes, in
Ubuzama le Guamanda or something. Gimang? Guananda. Bargimang that me.
It's Councillor Kabelo Guamanda.
Guamanda. Rebua Kamunta de Morero Yuali. Who is the mayor now? Then Unoli Finance. Guamanda had to some meal. Guamanda. Can we ask in the next 24 hours or so?
Yes,
it would be great.
We can.
You talk to her, and we will contact her on Tuesday.
That's definitely will.
And then hopefully she will say the mayor helped me.
No problem.
All right. Let's take Makwan in Midrand. Welcome to Power Talk.
Good morning to you, and thanks for having me. I just want, I have actually consulted over IDP processes. I'm a consultant as well. Over 34 to 50 municipalities. Mm-hmm. There's a common cancer that actually happens there. Once you have the majority of councillors being in a particular political party, I don't want to name political party, that's where the whole problem of non-transparency and corruption starts. The local governments out there, even in Limpopo and elsewhere, local governments are the seats of the voting.
What's your question, Makwani?
Of a citizen. I am actually saying that we do not see any cases brought forth that are strong of proven corruption because of the connection of these councillors with those. I think the mayor has already alluded to that of relatives, friends, and what have you, and people with strong political connections. So for you to be able to extend your skill, it has to come through a political route. And for that matter, the verification has to go through your allegiances to grassroots where the voting right resides. That is the actual problem.
Okay, thanks, Makwani. I don't have a lot of time. I've got to take other people. Can we agree that the mayor has understood your comment? Okay,
yes,
that's
sir.
Makwani there. I'm going to take Mpo. Mpo, you've got 1 minute. What's your question?
Thank you, Dr. Ndlozi. My question is the incorrect billing. I'm staying in Florida. It regards to the water. We've been going, they've been taking us from pillar to post to Braamfontein. They will say, go to your where you are staying in Florida, but we are not getting any joy with city of Joburg. Those people, they are giving us attitude. They are not helping us. We want to pay, but we don't know how to pay because the problem started with them, with incorrect billing. We are not having...
It is the billing related to what service, Mama?
To water.
Incorrect billing of water.
Yes, yes.
You said your area was?
Florida.
Okay.
Yes.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. Thanks very much, Elsie. Thanks very much, Elsie. Paul. Let's try to take these 2-3 ones, Comrade Mayor. Incorrect billing.
No, it could be either the meter is probably faulty, but the customer does say that she's been to our offices, she's not been getting joy, and our frontline staff has also not been treated with an attitude, so that's okay.
What is the resolution? A lot of people have that problem. Mam Tato had that problem.
The problem is widespread, Dr. Ndlozi.
Is there a solution to it?
And you try to get them. They go through customer service, trainings, refresher courses. It's an attitude. And it's so sad that, in fact, it's our own children. It's bana ba rona. And
But what are you going to do
we need
to
find-
change them?
we can
Because
only
they are being
train,
paid.
constantly trained. Where there's a
How
strong
about
case,
fire them?
Where there's a strong case, you charge them. They go through the disciplinary process until you are successful. But the problem for me is not about charging. It's more about societal attitudes being changed. I'm employed to serve, and that's what we need to get our people.
But Mayor, you are running a city.
No.
Grab a Rudy next time and all of that to say how do we change
Remarkable
this
immediate-
person is not society.
Look,
They're on a contract,
there
they're
are
being
people
paid
that has been
by the
charged.
city. They're not helping the elderly, they're not helping people who've got incorrect billing and all of that. What is the mayor going to do?
Of course, there are processes. You must charge. There's counseling. Then the last step, you charge. So there's a disciplinary code that managers and supervisors must implement to deal with those that are not responsive to our customers. Other cases are successful. They were able to discipline and get them out of the system. Others they've lost, they've appealed, and all sorts of things do happen. But from where I'm standing is that we need to get to a level that we don't even get to that stage. When a customer comes in, I must serve, and and serve with pride, and even go to an extra mile to resolve and that's the type of staff or workforce that we should be attracting in the city. So there are those bad apples there and there
Take
who
us
are not
Take us through the bomb
But-
squad.
But the billing problem of the Florida,
okay,
I think
okay.
I'll take a call and address the issue immediately and send the team out there to check whether the meter is faulty. If it's been faulty, they will then replace the meter, go back into account and reverse where they have to reverse and produce a proper bill. So that's what we'll do.
What is the bomb squad?
The bomb squad
what is
is
it going to do
basically
and how much is it going to cost the city?
No, there's no cost associated. We have passed the budget, as you do know. Majority, in fact, all of them are busy somewhere, employed somewhere. Others are running their own entities, and they're giving their time because they said, look, we can see there's a decline in Joburg. We want to help. We've got the institutional memory. We've got the skills. Can we come and help? And I said, hey, this is an exciting thing if you have people approaching you. And we then started discussions and tried to conceptualize this thing and what does it mean. And on the basis of that, I think by the time we got to soccer, I had conceptualized and I said, yes, let's do it. And they said, we are ready. We'll serve at our own time, bring our skills and expertise to help you get this thing through.
So what will they be doing specifically?
Giving us support. You'll realize that I've got Emavela Dlamini, who did roads in Soweto within 4 years. He was CEO of Johannesburg Roads Agency, and he was a city manager, and I believe that he has the skills, the necessary expertise to help JRA to move. One of the biggest problems we have is potholes. It's roads that are not proper, which require resurfacing. It's bridges, as you have raised. So we need a type of Mavela who can help us to support the current management to say, but this is how you close these gaps. Let's do the following. We'll be able to reach our ultimate objective. So that is why we bring in this type of individuals that I think they are coming to support. They're coming to help unlock where there are deficiencies so that they help us do these things. We have agreed that, yes, there's a decline. And I took a view, if I have to stop this decline, let me get support.
Absolutely. It's 1100 hours here. An hour is never enough. I'm sure the mayor will come back to power.
I would love to do so.
Or maybe the mayor can give us another 30 minutes.
That's okay.
That's okay. Okay. Welcome back, Bantwana Benkosi. 0861987000. If you've got any questions for the executive mayor of Johannesburg, Dada Morero. Dada Morero is here with us, and we're just going to conclude the conversation before we speak to the international escalating situation of Israel and Iran. So let's get straight to it. I see your calls. Malisela in Ivory Park, welcome to Power Talk. 1 minute, one person.
Okay, Dr. Ndlozi. Ke a o dumedisa le meya ne.
Re a dumela.
Okay, so like you are listing 19 ka 96 mo RDB and 74 years I think you agree RDB and anything about that.
Mayor, do you want to immediately respond to that?
Yeah, well, we have about 70,000 who are still sitting on the 96-97 housing list. We have taken a view, myself and Councillor Mabaso, who's responsible for human settlements, that we want to resolve this thing as quickly as possible. And we are also saying we'll also use some of the buildings in the inner city to unlock the 96-97. It's quite something that we have no excuse. We must resolve it as quickly as we can. So we are focused on it, and very soon those 196-97 will be called upon so that we can then
When
address
can
them
Ndate
accordingly.
Malisela hope to get the RDP? If you were to give him
We
a
have made a
deadline.
commitment before this end of term, which is ending 2026 November. We would want to ensure that the 70 sitting there, especially those that are approved and there are no issues, will make sure that they get their houses or their units before the end of term. So that's a
Ndate Malisela,
commitment
wa
we're
utlwa?
making.
Ke a mo utlwa ne.
Okay.
Ntate Malisela o dula kae?
Ivory Park.
Or Ivory Park?
My Park.
Okay, thanks.
Mayor are before November 2026 o tla thola RDP ya hao.
Okay,
Those-
okay,
Let-
okay,
let-
okay,
let's
Doctor.
qualify it.
Yeah.
Those that are
Ke lebohile,
96,
Doctor.
97.
Yeah, okay.
96, 97.
96-97.
Otherwise,
Thank
all
you
the
very much.
floodgates.
Ke di tsialetse. Welcome to Power Talk from Orlando East.
Dumelang.
Yes, mama.
Nna a ke na potso
Yes.
le ditebogo. Ke thabela mesebetsi e councillor a re etsetsang yona. Bonyane ba ntse tla ka bona hanyane re bona diphetogo. Re re pele ya pele. Ebile re mo thabela haholo hobane ke ngwana wa rona wa Soweto.
Oh.
Exita rona.
Le a mo tsebang nkgono Ntate Morero? Nkgono?
Sail.
O say.
Ke a mo tseba.
Okay. O le etseditseng so?
Dingata.
Okay.
Bona ditropong ho ba le diphetogo. Le sebakanyana sa se keneng empa se re bona diphetogo ebile re ba le tshepo. Ha o tseba stewardship. Ha bue di-political slogans fela. He's
Okay.
a man of action.
How's?
Yes. That's what we love about him.
Ke a
And
leboha.
we support him.
Thank you, mama.
Thank-
Badudi ba Orlando East, Lucky in Ivory Park. Welcome to Power Talk. 1 minute.
Doctor, now I'm not happy that tirelo tsa what 77 Ivory Park. The Democrat is aware. Councillor Yamola, it's been 3 times. Only section barake Chris Hani section. We don't have a road almost for 20 years. Nothing. Come on, man. The Democrat 3 times. Oh, and I just bullying you.
You are aware of that, Mayor?
What 77? The councillor has been raising the roads issue for long. I think in this budget we were able to successfully put it in. Because yes, there's a section where they're battling quite seriously. It's bad.
Yeah.
And then we then said, let's prioritize it. So it's in the budget and we'll resolve it.
So we're talking about this financial year, there will be some construction taking place
This money
for a
there,
road.
yes.
Le utlwa Ntate Lucky?
Don't phone you and the Democrat.
Don't worry, Manesu, don't worry.
Ke tlo ya follow up. The Mrewa ke a mo tseba ke politics. So I'll follow up and I'll tell you.
Okay.
Thank you, Papa.
Thank you, Papa.
Thanks, Lucky.
That's Ntate Lucky. Tabo in Mondio, welcome to Power Talk. 1 minute.
Thank you, Chief. My water has been cut since last year, December.
Your water has been what?
Cut.
Has been cut off.
Oh, terminated, yes.
Yeah, so I went to Brampfontein for an arrangement, which I was on.
Why was it terminated?
I was behind in payment. Right, I went for an arrangement because I was still on arrangement. I'm a pensioner. I'm on arrangement, but I defaulted. So my goal there was to make another arrangement to the default so that I pay on that default what they charge.
So what is your question to the mayor?
can Mayor interfere? Because if you go to that office
o shota ka bokae so Thabo
for with until
hore ba connecte kore o shota ka bokae a ke re me a o diele yona ke bokae so
it's about 20,000.
20,000
Yeah.
For how long have you not been paying?
No, it's increasing every month. When I go to them, to
It's
tell
arrears.
that 20, I don't have 20.
Hold on, Oscar drop Mayor.
No, Thabo, re tla atle officing re mo thuse, but it means he says himself he defaulted on the arrangement, which is a problem. So once you default, the city then says you are not committing to the arrangement.
Yeah.
So we'll then have to sit down and see how best we can assist them, because we're not in the business of penalizing customers, we're in the business of helping them. So we will then ask him to come through to Mr. Malope.
Just go to the city who has a deal or something.
Okay, it's Mr. Umas, I missed it.
We'll make arrangement, go to Tuso House and ask.
Tuso House.
We'll give you a number offline.
Just hold on, just hold on. The producer will take your contact details. Okay. Thank you very much. Last one, Risanga, Kapo Risenga. I'm sorry if that's a bad pronunciation. 1 minute, one is.
How are you, Mr. Ndlozi?
I'm fine, thank you. Shoot.
I want to ask about taxi rank at road. Smallest taxi rank in Gauteng, I think. We don't have a proper toilet. They didn't fix the toilet. And other thing, we don't have a good parking at the road bank.
Wait, we can't hear you properly. You mean a taxi rank in Rosebank?
Yes, in Rosebank. Our toilet is broken. Our toilet. We don't have a toilet at the taxi rank at Rosebank. And if you can come here, we don't have even a parking at the Rosebank. Our taxi is extra ridiculous. We're not taking anything. I can see you now or a right checker now.
Okay, thank you very much, Risenga. Okay, I don't wanna. I think that's a fair amount of questions for the mayor to deal with. I don't know if I can burden you more. I had indicated earlier that the state of your clinics.
Yes.
And there's this demand, which is very important, as you know, very close to my heart at least, about opening clinics to operate 24 hours a day. That's I don't know if the mayor would be able to indicate if they've done that and generally if that is going to improve. And the final one, if you could also say something about the fight against crime.
Well, thanks so much. The clinics, in fact, our health, on the health side, we've been doing quite well, including the clinics, provision of medication, especially your repeat medication. So we've been doing very well. We've also, for the first time after years, launched an AIDS Council that is doing work, interacting with civil society and different entities. We've been going out on outreach program around AIDS, HIV, and other diseases, whether it's prostate and all sorts of things. So we're doing a lot of work there. And in terms of the question on crime, yes, crime requires a lot of collaboration between JMPD and the South African Police Service and other law enforcement agencies. Yes, we have signed a contract with the Minister of Police last year, December, in an effort to try and see how best can we collaborate with the South African Police Service. I must say that it's hard for the JMPD alone to try and push back some of the crime that we see in the inner city, drugs, and all sorts of things. So we require more of the SAPS to really come on board, to really work towards pushing the crime levels in the inner city and in Johannesburg generally back. So that's what we'd want to see, and we are constantly engaging with the South African police. At times we do have joint operations, but there's a lot that still needs to be done. Crime is a big problem, and that is why you'd see in our priorities, bylaw enforcement and crime prevention is a priority. We've also invested currently in about our intelligence center, the IOC, and we've also put in place just around 500 officers who will be responding. We found that there were just around 40 of them, so increasing the number to 500 so that they can then respond to what the IOC picks up within the inner city. We just have around 600 cameras, and of course with collaboration with Vumacam, I think it will then account to just over 800 cameras in the inner city. And we want to launch, and we're investing there and bringing more cameras to ensure that we can use technology in the fight against crime. So we are.
How many drones have you bought?
Not as yet.
Will you be buying drones?
Not as yet. It's part of the strategy. So on the
in the budget that got approved, is there a division allocation?
No, we're not ready this year. We'll be ready in the next financial year for drones. For now, we are just expanding on cameras and on the.
Do they have communications yet, the JMPT officers? Last time I checked, they were communicating with cell phones.
No, we've approved that one. Yes, it was a big problem. So they will have the two-way radios, so I think they're called radios. So we've approved that so that we can bring efficiency in their communication. So we'll have to start the procurement process 1st of July when we start with spending of the budget. So we have budgeted for those. So there's a lot of things that we're doing. I must also say we are concluding Lilian Goyi. It's important for customers to know. End of August this year, the road will officially be opened where the explosion happened.
Kobri Street.
Yes. And
so
then,
after it's a Libri.
Yeah, okay. Call it Bree Street. We are going to ensure that we open it.
So in August, it will be open for business.
End of August, it will be opened. But what we have done, we have added to say we're going to beautify the entire road, broaden up pavements so that it's a complete street. So there's a second phase that will go through the entire road, and you'll see the changes that we're going to do. And once we complete with the second phase, we'll also be announcing that part.
Who is responsible to cut the grass? I mean, the grass in Johannesburg.
We are cutting the grass. We have started. I think on this road, you would see we are doing it. There are trees that we are pruning. Yes, the rains that we have had between January, February, and March until April were quite a lot of rains, which made it difficult to maintain, because you cut this week, next week the rains are there, the grass is high up. So now that the weather is proper, it's winter, it's lesser rains, we are cutting, we're doing as much as we can to cut the grass, especially now that it gets dark easily, and the grass in some areas it leads to crime. So we are cutting the grass.
Taxi rank problems.
The taxi rank in Rosebank requires that I attend to it immediately. I'll phone the transport department so that they can go and assess what is the issue. But one of the things you say, the facility itself, the toilets are not working, so we'll have to respond. But I need to say this, we have also entered into a working relationship with the taxi associations, and part of the relationship says part of the ranks will also be given to taxi associations for them to manage on behalf of the city. So we are looking at the best model. The report went into council last year where we adopted that model. All now what we need to do is to appoint the right facilities managers who was working with the taxi associations to ensure that these facilities can be kept and kept properly. Some of them, yes, there's a lot of challenges, include the one at Bree, the Bree taxi rank, which is also structurally not sound, and we're trying to do something to address that problem. But we have also launching what we call GT, which is the biggest transport intersection that we have here in the inner city. We'll be launching it quite soon and open it so that it can help us deal with the cross-border buses and taxis. So we are launching it quite soon.
Final set of questions for my part relates firstly to the housing situation. Lots of backroom dwellers in Johannesburg, and lots of informal settlements that are every day coming up, some of which are located in dangerous wetlands. So the situation you see, we are looking at the tragic situation in the Eastern Cape. When the rain season comes here, you constantly have the problem of floods because of those people in the riverbanks and all of that. Is there a comprehensive human settlement plan, minimum of which is just giving people land?
Yeah, well, we have mega projects. We've got about 3 that are running now. Luferin will give us a total of about 24,000 housing opportunities. We've just launched Southern Farms, which is focusing in the south, and Region G, which is going to give us a total of about 40,000 housing opportunities. And within that...
What is the housing opportunity? Why like DA?
No, it's exactly what you are saying, where you'd have service stands.
Okay.
You'll have bonded houses, you'll have social housing, and you'll have RDP.
Okay.
So that's housing opportunities, if you understand it. But in simple terms, it's just a mixed housing development.
But how many would be for this category of the poor? Like people
they normally
cannot afford.
say probably 30% will go there, so much percent will be bonded, and so on, and we'll split it in accordance to that. But reality, we've got a huge backlog in terms of provision of housing in Gauteng and Johannesburg in particular. The numbers continue to grow. It's a bigger challenge. Informal settlements have ballooned, especially in the deep south, which is creating a problem. But what we're also finding is that some of these informal settlements, 70% in others, is actually foreign and undocumented and illegal. But who owns the shacks? South African citizens. We're also renting them out to those that are illegal. And who are the South African citizens? It's me and you who stay in the suburbs, who have been able to buy land for 4,000 and erected 10 shacks. And people are paying rent. So we're investigating those things because we need to get to those that are responsible. That's one part. The second part is in relation to the criminal syndicate generally that sells land and make millions of money and they disappear. And it creates problems. I mean, people buy stands for up to 15 to 20,000 in a wetland, and it's desperation. So we then said, where possible, let's give service stands. Where possible, we'll go into an informal settlement, and if we think the land is proper, everything is proper, we'll immediately pack them. They call it blocking, and then ensure that we settle them there officially, have addresses and proper things. And by the time government has the resources to build houses, we'll do so. But those that have capacity can do so on their own. So that's what we're trying to do. We're also looking at title deeds. You know that areas like in Soweto in particular, I mean the first RDP areas, they've not had their title deeds. We have finalized that. There's about 8,000 title deeds that they're sitting. We're just trying to relax some of the development planning restrictions, which are quite tight. And we are saying, let's give them, because development planning says you must have had the road, you must have stormwater, traffic lights, traffic circle and all that stuff. But reality is that we may not have the budget to roll out roads in Bramfisher at a massive scale. And some of the people who have been there are now in their 70s, getting old. What do you do? And that's the discussions we are having, which may end up saying, let's give them the title deeds because they are ready. So
it's 28.
That's what we are doing in the housing area. There's nice things that we are doing, even in the inner city. We're doing student housing. There's about 2 buildings that we have now. We are refurbishing them, preparing them. One is next to UJ. The other one is next to VETS, so that students can take advantage of lower rentals. So that's what we're doing, and a lot of social housing in the inner city.
I have to ask
2
quick questions, and I hope you can respond to them with the necessary service delivery speed. One, G20. Are you ready to host the activities of G20 in the city. The president was not very happy when he was here last time. Second question, Helen Zille says she can run this city better than you. What's your reaction?
Let's start
with Helen.
No. Okay, we can
It's a quick one. Let's start with Helen. Helen says she can run this city better than you, particularly the coalition.
The nice thing is that the coalition is running far better than she, far better. As I said in our opening, we've got a very stable coalition. We're working very well. We're cooperating and we are supportive. Two, Johannesburg is quite complex. Her herself, she has made that admission. She has also admitted that by the time they entered in Cape Town, it was not like what Johannesburg is. But I would welcome any suggestions and views from her if she wants to contribute. There's nothing wrong. But I believe we've got the necessary team in the form of a bomb squad with the necessary knowledge and skills, which I think they'll be able to help us turn around this thing. And in fact, I had also extended an invite to some within the Democratic Alliance to serve on that team, Joburgers with expertise, and are still waiting for them to confirm.
Okay.
But
G20, are you ready?
Run it proper. We are ready. You know that there's been meetings. I think the other one is concluding today.
Today, yes.
Here at the Melrose Arch. Most delegates were staying in Melrose itself, others in Sandton, and the roads were proper.
We have made a commitment,
so
you and I. We're going to have this session again, and the next time we have it, we're going to have it at a spot Power will identify which is most hard hit when it comes to service delivery. But also will be there end of August, whether the road is opening or not. You have made a commitment that we will both go and broadcast the show from Bree Street.
We can even start there now to see where it is now, so that by the time August comes, we can broadcast there. We can also take you right in the heart of Hillbrow to see what we have done. We've got the low-cost housing opportunity that we have created of about 155 units. And I'd like you to come and see it, where the rentals range from 800 right up to 1,500.
Okay. That's the executive mayor of the city of Johannesburg, Ntate Dada Morero. Quite a heavy job he's got here with one of the biggest coalition governments in terms of participation of political parties in the country. Wish you the best, Chief.
Thank you.
And see you soon. We're going to hold you to those promises about coming together with you in and around the city.